Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Cinema Chazzy, where I talk about movies and stuff, get my little reviews, discussions, analysis. I'm pretty sure you guys know the drill at this point, Today I feel good, the sun started to... Why are you calling me in the middle of a video? So I feel good, the sun started to come out, it's nice and cool in here, I just shaved, I feel good, I feel nice and clean and sexy, even though my face kind of burns. I rubbed some moisturizer here after I shaved, but it still stings a little bit. But anyway, so aside from the point, today I'm going to be talking about a movie that I watched some time ago called Fractured, and this movie is really cool. I really liked it a lot. It's with one of my favorite actors ever, which is Sam Worthington, who did the Clash of the Titans movies, and it's very interesting because it's kind of like not exactly all the way to a horror, but it's a thriller movie, and it is really good. There are many layers and a few little plot elements that kind of make you think as you watch it, and there is a superb twist at the end that nobody saw coming, not even me, I think that, oh my god, why are people calling me? Stop, I'm recording a video, damn it. It's a bunch of freaking telemarketers. But anyway, so the thing is, like, as the movie goes on, you start to kind of get a sense of you get a feeling of dread. I actually saw another movie a long time ago with Liam Neeson. I forgot the name of it, but it was very similar, in that he was kind of like a secret agent where he kind of had an alias and he was pretending to be someone else, and then I think he loses his memory and then he believes that the fiction is the reality and somebody stole his identity. Very good movie, by the way. But anyway, so Fractured is different because it's kind of like this. Let me try to give you guys a little rundown, okay? So a man is driving with his wife and daughter in a car, and then they stop. I think it's because he wanted to get some gas or something, then his daughter, let me just take a look again at the cast because I forgot. His daughter's name is Perry, there we go, as in Periwinkle, I believe. I have a little cheat sheet here, and his wife's name is Joanne. Now, the thing is that they're driving in a car and then they stop and then they go to the gas station, I believe. And then his daughter, Perry, she goes and sees I think it's a kite. Yeah, she goes, walks after a kite, but then a dog comes out of the shadows and starts, walking towards her. It's not really established if the dog was going to attack her or anything, maybe it was just coming near her, for attention. He wanted to sniff her, because sometimes dogs are just curious, But anyway, the movie establishes this as kind of like a bad thing because apparently the dog is gonna go and try to do something. She was scared of it. So then her dad, Ray, tries to go and catch her, because she started to walk backwards into a little ravine of sorts, a big hole in the ground, a construction zone, right? And then so she actually falls, and then Ray falls in after her. They both hit the ground really hard, and then she starts bleeding a little bit, and so does he. Then his wife comes down and sees the situation, and then like he gets up, but because he hit his head, I think he's still a little dazed, so his wife is shaking him, trying to help him snap out of it. Which he does, soon he's like, okay, sorry, what's going on? What happened? Okay, let me, so then he establishes the situation that his daughter isn't sort of like, she's really injured, she really got hurt, so they have to take her to a hospital. So then they leave the little ravine thing and they get in the car and then they go to the hospital. And that's establishing the first act of sorts, that whole moment there is the first act where there's an accident and they need to rush his daughter to the emergency room. Ray is also hurt, he has a little bruise on his head. His wife is okay for the most part, but she still has to go anyway. So the whole shock of it, the whole crux of the situation happens there in the first part, and it works really well actually to establish, the conflict later on.
We're on our way to Minneapolis.
It was an accident.
I fell. Daddy!
Well, sooner or later, everybody does. Right, Dad?
I nearly had you, didn't I?
Now, after they get to the hospital is where things slowly start to unwind a little bit, It starts to get a little weird because first it's established that his daughter, she goes to see a doctor. I forgot the guy's name. I think it was Dr. Bertram or Isaacs, one of those two. I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Bertram. Let me let me do something here. I'm going to look at the actor. Let me take a look at the actor and see if it's him. Yep, it was him. Just by the actor's I can tell by the actor's face, this guy here, Steven. Okay, so it was him. So Dr. Bertram is the one that they find. you know, and he goes to examine Perry, you know, and this and that, and it's established that she's going to need to do a CAT scan. So they take her, I do believe it was either up or downstairs, you know, and Ray looks at the elevator and sees where they go. But anyway, so then sometime later he goes outside and just takes a little nap, you know, to relax, and then when he wakes up, he goes to check on his wife and daughter, you know. So he goes to the nurse and asks her, you know, about the name and the place and this and that. He pretty much just wants to know where she is. But then something odd happens. There is no register at all of his daughter Perry in the hospital, you know, and his wife as well. It's like they just vanished into thin air, which is a little odd, you know. It's very strange. And then slowly as the minutes go by, it starts to get weirder and weirder, because then they check the time schedule, the timetable, and it's shown that there was no little girl at all registered with that name, you know. There wasn't even anyone doing any CAT scans. And then it's very strange because they eventually go to the CAT scan room. There's no registry there either. It starts to go off the rails, because slowly, very slowly, but it does happen on screen, slowly Ray starts to lose his mind, you know. He starts to go crazy because he knew for a fact, and we the viewers too knew for a fact, we saw it happen, that his wife and his daughter went inside the hospital to do the CAT scan early in the morning, and then there's no trace of it at all. And then Dr. Bertram eventually leaves. He comes back later, but it's established that like the people in the hospital, like they know who Ray is, but they don't really. It's like they have never even seen his wife or daughter, despite them having been there in the hospital. So I'm a very curious person, so I started to really, my brain started to work really hard and fast when this happens. Like, what is going on? What's this? Is there a conspiracy? You know, did they kidnap his wife and daughter and they're going to harvest their organs or something? You know, I'm like, this is crazy. So then certain people, certain pieces of the puzzle start to fit, but then form other ones that don't fit, you know? Like certain people in the hospital, certain staff and personnel do recognize Ray. They know that he came there earlier, but then it doesn't really make sense because they say that his wife and daughter weren't even there, you know? So then you start to think, what if this is a conspiracy? What if he's being set up? What if everyone is in on this, you know? It gets even weirder when the doctor comes back, Dr. Bertram, and he kind of confirms that he didn't even see a little girl at all, you know? And then Ray starts to really lose it. He's going crazy. He's like, where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter, you know? And you can understand a father being worried about his little young daughter, you know. You can kind of like throughout much of the movie, I was sympathizing with Ray a lot, man. You know, I was like, man, what is wrong? What happened to this poor bastard? You know, he lost his wife and daughter. You pretty much root for him, you know, throughout the whole entire movie, throughout the whole ordeal, and you kind of like you feel the pain that he feels. Like, you know, like what if it was my wife and daughter, you know?
It's been hours. You know how much longer it's gonna be?
What was her name again?
Perry Monroe.
I'm not seeing a Perry Monroe. There hasn't been a scan since 9 o'clock this morning.
So what are you telling me?
They're not here.
Now, towards the third or the fourth act, I don't really know how many acts this movie can be defined by. I'm just doing it in my own perception, you know. Towards the final act, you know, things really start to unravel, you know, because Ray, he manages. There's a police officer who, I think it's Officer Chili's. No, that's Officer Griggs. I don't know, there's a damn police officer involved, and he kind of becomes the antagonist to some degree, you know. And it starts to get really crazy when Ray involves the police outside of the hospital. They go inside and they start to investigate, you know. And that's when a lot of holes start to appear in the story. They take him back to the construction site, you know, and there's a psychologist involved now, you know, a therapist, and she's trying to convince him that he may have had something to do with it, you know, that he did something wrong. They go to the site and they see traces of blood. They start to see a few suspicious things, you know. And then Ray, he does get arrested at some point, I believe, if I remember correctly. Who is calling me? That's my dad. I gotta go outside to go get my lunch. Okay, so now that I got my food and I'm gonna eat later, let me see here, where was I? Okay, so the whole crime scene, suspicious, blah, 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 the whole sus thing. So anyway, if my memory doesn't fail me, Ray actually takes a gun. He steals a gun from one of the cops and uses it against them. Doesn't actually shoot, but he threatens them, you know. He steals a car and rushes back to the hospital, and he gets there, and this is where things really start to get into the creepy. It starts to slide into the creepy factor, you know. But here's the thing. Oh boy, the twist. So he gets into the hospital, he manages to sneak in, he kills that cop that I talked about before, he strangles him to death after fighting him in the elevator, you know, so then he gets to a different floor, one that's a little bit strange, you know, I think it's either downstairs or up, I'm pretty sure it's downstairs going towards the basement, and then he finds this really bizarre place, you know, different offices and rooms and stuff, and then there are people who are pushing these carts that are labeled illegal organs and this. So then it's like, oh my god, I was right, huh? This hospital really is running an illegal human organ trafficking thing. I don't know. And then he actually he finally finds his daughter and his wife, you know, in one of their surgery rooms, and they're about to do something to Perry, you know, I guess they're going to extract one of her organs, you know, it's a cell or something, and his wife is sitting in a chair, you know, drugged, you know, kind of a little dazed and this and that, you know. So then he takes the gun and he points it at everyone, you know. He fights off one or two of them, I do believe, you know. But anyway, the point is that, you know, the scene does show that he gets his daughter and his wife back and he leaves with them, you know. And then the doctors say, look, man, you're making a mistake, calm down, you really don't want to do this, you don't know what you're doing, you know. And you're kind of like, well, wait a second. So clearly the doctors are evil here. They stole his wife and daughter, you know, they kidnapped them, and they're going to forcibly extract an organ from his daughter. Obviously, this guy needs to win and take them out of there, you know. So that's what happens, you know. He finally escapes, he gets out, he puts them in the car and drives away, and you're like, wow, that was pretty crazy. That was pretty intense, man. That was actually a really good movie. I liked it a lot. Very nice. And then the twist happens. We find out that everything that we just saw was all in Ray's head. So let's recap. His daughter and his wife actually died at the beginning of the movie. His daughter fell into that ravine, she crashed really hard, she hit the ground hard, and she died. And then his wife, she comes over hysterical, you know, trying to shake him and crying, you know, screaming, hitting him, and he pushes her off of him and she falls and hits and impales her head here through a nail that's on the ground, so she also dies. So right then and there, his wife and daughter died. And then apparently the trauma was so big, you know, the whole gist of the moment happened. It was so strong that it forced Ray to hallucinate heavily. So when he went to the hospital with his daughter and his wife, he actually went there by himself to treat a head wound because he got injured, you know, he was bleeding. So then they treated his head wound, and then later after he woke up and started looking for his daughter and wife, that's the reality that really happened. Because originally there was never a little girl or a wife, you know. His wife and his daughter had never made it to the hospital. So everything that we saw at the beginning was just him imagining it. It was an illusion. It wasn't really there, you understand? And then everything that we saw happen was really him. What we thought, wow, what happened to this guy's wife and daughter? It was actually him just going crazy. It was him hallucinating, thinking that they were there, but they weren't. So in reality, everyone around him was sane. He was the one who was crazy. So whenever somebody says that they had no idea what he was talking about, they were actually telling the truth. Wow. And then the ending, of course. What we see in the ending is actually really, it's the definition of pulling the rug out from under you. The ending where we see, you know, him driving away with his daughter and his wife, it's actually revealed that he went into there was never any illegal organ crap, you know. It was just regular medical equipment being wheeled in. He went into the surgery room. The doctors were about to perform surgery on a random person who he had never seen in his life, you know. So he actually took away from the hospital bed, from the surgery table, a random person who was in dire need of surgery. And you see that at the beginning, the reveal. You see in the car a random person, you know, almost dying, you know, convulsing and this and that, you know. So that's what really happened. Boom, mic drop. Now, in my opinion, that was a very good twist. This is one of the best movies I've seen in a while just because of that twist. Because I was not expecting it at all. I wasn't expecting anything even remotely close to that. I actually did think that something was going to happen. Like, there was actually a real conspiracy somewhere around all of this, you know? And when that finally happened, it's like, I almost wanted to go back and rewatch the movie again right there as soon as I was finished, because it made so much sense, you know? Like, I mean, yeah, the hospital could have conspired against him to do this and that and run an illegal organ trafficking thing, but it actually made sense. Like, he was hallucinating the whole thing, you know? That movie was so smartly done. It was expertly crafted, you know? And I think that the actors really sold the illusion. Like, everyone did a really good job, you know, of acting. So, and Sam Worthington, one of my favorite actors, so he really did a good job playing Ray Monroe. And every time that we go back, you know, like the cops, you know, the therapist, everyone was right to suspect him, you know. Everything that looked suspicious really was suspicious, you know. Ray really did kill, like, he didn't kill his daughter, but she did die, and then he did accidentally kill his own wife, you know. It was crazy because we go back and the movie at the very end, it goes back and recaps all of the moments that we saw, that it was actually him hallucinating. To me, that was insane, man. That was incredible. And I gotta give, you know what, I usually do this at the end, but I'm gonna leave it already here. This movie deserves a perfect 10 out of 10. There we go, right there. Solid, you know, flawless. It was amazing. If it wasn't for the twist at the end, I probably would have given it a lower rating, but damn, it deserved that 10, man. It really deserved that 10. Freaking flawless. I loved it so much. And in my honest opinion, it deserves to be watched. It's probably still on Netflix right now. Very underrated. Very underrated, like, seriously, man. And I love movies that have elements of thriller and suspense, you know, mystery and suspense, where you have to really watch it to understand. Not something too hard like Inception, for example, but I just prefer it when, you know, it's when things happen the way that they do, you know. Wait, what? No, I prefer it when things happen in a way that I can understand them. You know, it makes me think, but it doesn't make me feel like I have to be Neil deGrasse Tyson or something. So the twist was amazing. Amazing. You know, that's all I can say about it, really. Freaking amazing.
Don't record in the treatment areas.
They're under the camera. Can't see them because of the chairs. You get a better angle. You saw my little girl. You treated her on.
All I've got to go on is your word that they were here at all.
I think I'm making them up.
Now, I think that the way that the events play out, it makes sense. Like, when you're watching for the first time, you really root for this guy. You're really supporting the idea that there's something going on against him, you know, and everyone is in on it, even the damn police officer at the hospital, until you find out that it's all just been an illusion, you know, and then it makes even more sense, you know. So when he killed the police officer in the elevator, he killed an innocent police officer for nothing, who was just trying to do his job, you know. And then the other officers who got involved, like, oh my God, man. I'm at a loss for words here to try to explain what's going on, you know? So the thing is that, well, in general, I think it was a good experience. I think it was a good watching experience, you know? And, well, I'm definitely gonna watch it again. It's because I'm at a loss for words here, you know, because talking about the twist is freaking awesome. But anyway, guys, in general, good movie, very well shot, well edited, you know, very well cast. I think everyone did a good job, even the little girl who played Perry. So it was perfect. Everything was perfect. You know, we got a second Doctor character coming in later who really levels out the playing field, you know, with new information. So everything conspires in the favor of the protagonist Ray, who eventually becomes the antagonist. So to me, it's perfect. And I really think that's all I can say about it. You know, I don't know what else I can comment. You know, it's just a great movie, and I really would love it for you guys to watch it. You know, so it's all good. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm rushing here towards the end. It's because I'm really hungry. Oh God, I really want to eat before recording the next video. But that's it, guys, okay? I think that's all I can say about Fractured. Available now on Netflix. If you have Netflix, go and watch it. If you don't, find a way to watch it, man. Find another way to watch it, because you are not going to regret it. I can promise that. I can promise you that. But anyway, that's it for now, guys. This has been today's episode of Cinema Chazzy, okay? This is Chazzy, signing out for now. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Wait, wrong hand.
Why would I have my daughter's scarf, but not her? There's something wrong with this place. I showed you the picture. That could be anybody.
I'm as concerned about them as you are.
Search the hospital!
Nobody needs to get hurt.
I mean, he's a head case. Put down all your guns! What have you done to my family? Where'd you take my family?